Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thank you so much for being here with us today. On behalf of ACI Pie House, we are really happy to welcome you to the Bridge to the Diamond Way, your inner decision. This is a special space for students who are beginning to feel that inner question. What comes next? How do I prepare? How do I take this step in a sincere way? We are very grateful to have today teacher Timothy Lowenhart, teacher Bob Cyrino, teacher Paulina Franco, and teacher Javier Perez with us today to help guide this conversation. So thank you again for joining us and welcome with the teacher. Let's start. Let's enjoy.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. I want to welcome everyone here today. This decision that we're talking about. Many of us have been asking these questions like, what is next? Right? We have this question of what is our path, and what is our path of study, and what's our path of practice, and what's we'll say, our path of transformation. And, there's this mystery like that we kind of build up probably a little bit marketing wise, maybe a little bit too much, where we focus on this maybe coming of age, this rite of passage that like, oh, now you're ready for Diamond Way, right? We build everything around this. We build a lot of our discussions around this. If you finish your 18 courses, right? Or since things have changed, if you finish your Song of My Spiritual Life courses, right? Then you're ready, right? Then you're ready for this thing, right? This next step. And it becomes kind of a set up as an achievement. But I want to take things a little bit differently today because we have with us today, we have Paulina Franco, we have Javier Perez, and we have Bob Serino. And we're going to talk a little bit more about it because it's not about this thing that you achieve. Like you've arrived at this key moment where you're like, I'm now ready, right? And in Mexico, they have this tradition for girls when they reach 15, right? Quinceañera, right? You're now ready, right? And traditionally, it was the time that, oh, she's now ready to be married, right? Which is not our world anymore. But, there's these defining moments of say, well, now I'm ready. Like I'm ready to be I don't know, an adult, right? And I think that's a cool way of thinking about it, but I think it's much more subtle than that. It's not just, did I finish my courses? Did I do what I was supposed to do? It's much more, there's an inner transformation that happens. There's a decision that gets made. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So we have this great panel of practitioners, who have a wide variety of experience and have a wide variety of life experience, which is very different than my own. And so I thought it'd be kind of cool to have a conversation about it. They do not know what I'm going to ask them. This is one of my, I'm going to interview you and I'm just going to ask you and you're going to talk on the spot, and we're all friends and we've had these kinds of conversations before in real life where we've just sat around and talked about like, well, why? Like, why did you do this? Right. And so, if you are listening, it'd be really cool. I've seen you sort of turn on your cameras. It'd be really cool if you're here to turn on your camera so we can see who you are. Because I think part of the decision is also a decision to show up. you know, and there's something special in showing up as well. So let's get started. So we have these three lovely people here. Good morning, everybody. So good to see all of you. We're in different parts of the world, although we're in the same hemisphere. You know, I should put on this background. I look ridiculous, but I'm the host. I can do what I want. So my first question, and I'm going to direct this at Bob. Good morning, Bob. Is when did you know that you were ready? You know, because you've been around for many years and you were watching all these people kind of pop in to Diamond Way, right?
Mm.
But like, how did you know you were ready? What was that? Is there some kind of moment where like a light bulb went off, or was it more like a gentle sunrise? Like how was it for you?
Yeah. Wow. Good morning, Tim.
Morning.
And hi, Pao. Hi, Javier. And hello, all you beautiful, beautiful people. Um, Man, Tim, there's two moments that I can really think of. Um, and I think of so much of this as not like a you did the thing, so now you're ready, and more of like a like dokpa, like it's a realization.
With an S, with a sa or without a sa? Ha.
It's like realize that I don't know my Tibetan. If it was Sanskrit, maybe you could ask me that question. Uh, is the realization of being ready and all the conditions were there for
Mm,
something to kind of pop more
mm,
than it was like I checked all the boxes, like I did all the things. It was like okay, something like clicked. And the first thing that clicked for me was I had always very, very powerfully been excited about being radically individual. Like, I don't need anybody's help. And that was like one of my big identities was, I can do this by myself and I love being radical
mm,
individual. And so it's like relationship with teacher is creating this beautiful kind of marriage or something, like a beautiful connection where I was like, wait, I'm putting so much of my heart into somebody else. And for me, that was really nerve-wracking. So
mm,
even though I felt that a lot of the conditions, like from a checking the boxes standpoint, was there, I had to come to terms with so much of how I viewed the self-existent nature of teachers. And I had to just ripen so many of my own obstacles to opening my heart in a way that was like incredibly vulnerable.
mm,
And what I realized was that that was so much of what I personally needed to expand my capacity to love. And so that was the first. And then I don't know if you know this, Tim. Um, I went to my teacher and I asked them for the first time very formally to be my teacher after I went through this huge process of like being in a place where I felt like that was like I was ready. And they said, no. And I was like, what? And so it was this incredible experience of like this teaching just like polishing like the gold in my heart. Like first I had to like take away my own dirt and then this like polishing, 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 polishing to see the shine. And then uh over a course of I don't know the time span. I think it was months. There was an opportunity to take, the next step. And I had grasping onto that. And I was like, oh yes, like the thing. Like again, self-existence. Like, oh, empowerment, or the next step. And then I checked on my own heart and I said, wait, I'm having that same thing of holding on to the self-existent nature of a thing which is empty. And so then I said, no, I can't go, because even though I checked all the boxes, I could tell that the heart that I was bringing to it wasn't the heart I wanted to bring to it.
Mm. That's really interesting, Bob. And I, by the way, I forgot to introduce you. Bob Serino is the former director of the Yoga Studies Institute, and he graduated he's on the board now. And in that process, he also had a child as well recently. And, so part of the people that we chose here, I wanted to show people who are living normal lives, right? And so he's been deeply involved in these organizations and has a family and children as well. And so I just want to quickly introduce him. He can correct me at any other point if I was wrong in that. But so you said something very fascinating, Bob. And you touched on many points around like what one thinks is a preparedness, and what preparedness actually, what your version of preparedness was versus the preparedness that the teachers seem to be poking you with, right? So we're gonna flip over to my next victim here, a really good friend, Paulina Franco. And I've known Pao since 2011, I believe, is when we first met. And we've been kind of like brothers and sisters since then, right? And we've become really good friends. And she too has a family. And she has worked with ACI and ACI Mexico for many years, mainly as a volunteer, blood, sweat, and tears. Maybe more tears than anything else. And so, I want to, something Bob said really struck me, Pao. And it was this, actually many things did, but I'm going to choose one for now, is that he said he wanted to do it by himself. He wanted to be like, he wanted almost, I'm going to put different words in your mouth, Bob, because I'm going to overlay my own interpretation. So I apologize. Is, he wanted to do it himself. He thought he could do it himself. He had always done so many great things by himself and achieved many great things by himself. If I know Bob very well. And Bob also has this capacity of inspiring many other people as well. And so, Powell, what I'm wondering is specifically with the relationship with the teacher. We're talking about check the boxes, do your ACI courses, do your Song of My Spiritual Life courses. But what was the relationship with your teacher? Like, how was that important? And why is that important for us to consider as we're moving forward? And how has it changed for you over time?
Well, for me, my teacher, and I think for all of us, well, this is my personal experience. I believe there is an ongoing preparation between myself and the preparation my teacher is been giving me, right? Like he's been preparing he's been preparing me for this moment, and then after the empowerment, how he is working with each of all of us. I think probably is gonna be infinite for our infinite lives until we reach total freedom from pain. And we need the teacher, we need our teacher. It's impossible, or I see this path impossible to do it without the teacher, because he already or she already reached the state where we want to be, free of total, free of pain, right? So we need the teacher. I think, or for me, my teacher has been that example where I want to go, what I want to reach. And my relationship is being changing little by little, because my seeds are changing in a way where I can see it more as the door for total enlightenment for me. You know, it's like, how do I see my Lama? How do I honor all his teachings? How do I think about himself? So for me, my teacher has been preparing me in my life and guiding me through enlightenment. And if only an enlightened being can truly lead another being all the way there, who better than my teacher? You need to find the perfect teacher for you and to create a beautiful relationship that create the causes for you to say, okay, he's the person who can help me. This is the being who can help me, and trusting in your life. I think I've been trusting a lot since I met my teacher. You know, I trust, and then every instruction matters for me. Every advice, every project, every challenge your teacher is giving you contains something precisely designed for you. You know?
Mm.
And he's been teaching you like how to reach all the goals in this life. You want to do money? Yes. You want to have beautiful relationships? Yes. But beyond all the goals we usually have for ourselves, the Lama's deepest goal is your enlightenment, nothing less. From the very first moment they saw you and they saw me, that was always the vision. He wants you to stop suffering forever. So then you trust your teacher that he can reach you there. And I think it's a beautiful dance between your teacher and yourself. It's been like that for me.
So you said something really, I think there's something very profound in that. And I think there's something else. And Bob, you hinted at it as well. This kind of trust, this kind of, in a way, handing yourself and your evolution over to somebody else. You know, and I think this is probably the deepest, one of the deepest, but also one of the scariest and one of the most misunderstood aspects of having a teacher. Like, what does it mean to trust? What does it mean to say, I trust you? How do you even get there? Like, do we just trust blindly because we believe that that they are already have achieved the goals? You know, how do we know? Who are they? You know, where does doubt come in? Like, what's the role of doubt? So Javier, another friend of mine, he lives in New York. We recently connected compared to Paulina and Bob. I've known them longer. You know, he too is a family guy. And he's been studying at the Three Jewels for many, many years and is becoming a very successful teacher. and I keep trying to like hook him into ACI 5 houses in every way that I can, trying to show him how awesome we are. um, so welcome. Thank you for joining us, Javier. And
Of course, it's always a pleasure.
so what I wanted, so playing off that idea, right? Like this trust creation, trust building, how do you get there? Because it's, at least, and I'm not going to put words in anyone's mouth, but I'm going to put them from my mouth, is that there's what everybody says and what you should believe, right? This is what you should do, right? And a lot of people are good at the should, right? It's good. It's easy to pretend it and to fake it. But when it's 3 a.m. and you wake up and you start thinking about your life and you start thinking about your path, what brings you closer to that trust in somebody, in your teacher, and what has brought you there, and how can we think about it from a seed point of view? Like, how do we create that?
What a great question. Hello, everybody. It's always a pleasure to be here. Bob, Polina, so good to see you guys. And some other people in the little boxes. It's so great to see known faces of special people. Trust in your teacher. So, I don't know the answer. No, it's something
Good.
that needs to be cultivated, right? Like there's like I think I feel that I bounced a few teachers before I found who I consider to be my teacher today. Um and there was to make sure that the way I trust Hector is the same way I trust my parents when I was a kid. Uh, a little bit of like surrender. It's like, you know better, like I've done it many times and I've gotten hit in the face enough times to know that I don't know. What do you know, right? And almost everything that Hector La has told me has yielded a result close to what the prescription says, right? So I watched him teach for many years before I considered him my teacher. I watched him act. I went on trips with him. And I think that that's very important when you're engaging a teacher, because the relationship with the teacher is not just 1 year or 2 years and that's it, right? Like it's a marriage. It's a marriage, and different to other marriages. There ain't any divorce like that kind of like carries with you through lifetimes, whatever relationship you cultivate with them today. It's not just a relationship that you will have today. How do you plant the seeds to trust your teacher? I don't know if my answer is going to be correct, but if I contemplate that question, be a trustworthy person. Just make sure that when you engage with your world, you can be trusted. And you will find people in Dharma that you can trust. If you are not trustworthy in your regular life, the logic says that you will not trust anybody, not even your teacher. I think that's where my aim would be, right? Like I think that's similar to, like, I think Bob said that there was a point where like everybody in my life was getting empowered but me. Like everybody in Three Jewels was like going to empowerment. So it's like, what is happening? Like, why am I not getting invited to any of this? And I went to Hector and I was like, why not me? And he was like, why do you want it? I was like, well, what do you mean, what do I want? It's like enlightenment. Everybody's having it. Everybody's getting it, you know? It's like, but like, and then he started making me question, similar to what Bob said, like, what's the self-existent of empowerment? Like, is there anything in empowerment that's going to get me enlightened? Or is it in me? Like, how are those conditions set up? Like, why are all these other people getting empowered with somebody who's not really their teacher? And that was the key thing, like what clicked on me. A lot of these empowerments that were happening not with the relationship that you need to have with your teacher in empowerment, which has to be a very close relationship. And I don't say close relationship like you have coffee with them every day. I don't. It has to be close in that level of trust. I look, there's an ignorant part of my mind that sometimes have doubted what Hector tells me. And then there's the wise part of my mind that when I listen to the advice and I put it into action, all of a sudden my mind does things. And when you put that into practice over and over, you start, it's, you know, I don't know, it becomes faith. It goes beyond trust and it becomes faith. And not the ignorant faith. It's just like this faith of like over and over and over again, this person and their wisdom and their knowledge, and not only all of their words, but their practice and how they show up in the world have showed me that it is possible. And nothing else has. So who am I to trust? The one person that seems to be moving my mind towards the ultimate goal, or the guy in the news? I don't know. Like, it's like, I don't know if that answers your question directly, but that's kind of like where the relationship with the teacher and trust becomes, to me, like, yeah, it becomes faith. It just becomes this like unconditional love, unconditional surrender, and whatever they want and say, you know, as long as I'm not breaking any vows, of course, it will be the prescription to enlightenment. And if I see it any other way, it's my ignorant mind trying to see other things.
All right. You guys are like, this is great. I feel like Paula, did you want to add something?
Yes, can I?
Yes, please.
You ask like it is like a blind situation where I just follow my teacher, and thinking about Javier was saying, I think we have to realize this is not about blind devotion or obsession with the teacher. I think the deeper you understand, your understanding of emptiness becomes, the more successful your practice becomes. I remember like this story where Kedruk Je once said that one of the greatest kindness his Lama Jetson Kappa gave him was not only the teachings of Diamond Way, but especially the teachings on logic, on pramana, right? Valid perception. In that sense, I think better logic leads to better Diamond Way practice, to have a better relationship with your teacher, because you more deeply understand his own emptiness, karma perception, and the nature of reality, the more clearly you begin to understand why Diamond Way works, and why this relationship with your teacher works, and why he has the potential to lead you to where you want to be, because you already see this person as the source of all your good. All this beautiful karma is ripening in front of you. You see his ethics, his kindness, his love, his wisdom. And because his own emptiness, you know, in coming from you, you can have this trust in not a blind relationship, I think.
Beautiful addition, Pao. You know, and I think that's where I was hoping we'd get to, in this idea of you have to work in your own mind and improve these things to yourself.
Yeah.
Because blind faith just because everyone else is doing it or everybody else has the same teacher. Like that is not sustainable when you have your negative emotions. You know, your negative emotions will override that, and then how to bring yourself back, right? Because that's the process. That's like so many of us get so heavy. It's like, oh, I'm a bad person. I broke my vow. I did the wrong thing. No, you did the right thing because you're a practitioner. A practitioner will fall on their face, and then you got to scoop yourself up. And how you scoop yourself up is really important. And so I want to respond to something Javier said as well, and then I'm going to toss the beanbag over to you, Bob. The hot potato is, when he went to his teacher and said, "Look, all these other people are getting empowerment," which had an implication, right? The implication was, why not me? Like everybody else seems to be, I know I have something that they don't have, or at least I'm equal, right? Like there's a and I say this gently because I have gone through this as well, and I still go through it. Like there's a kind of there's an ego that gets involved. There's a pride, right? Well, I'm good enough. Look at that person's clearly not as good as I am, which is what that in question kind of implies, right? The Mayingak. I've done it myself. So, and I'm not criticizing you, Javier, but I think it's this, well, why am I not special?
Still do it sometimes. Like it's not foreign to me. It still happens.
I'm not, I'm special, and but why am I not? If I'm special, which is what the self says, then why am I not there and everybody else is? And this question is tossed back to you, Bob. And the question I think your teacher asked you, Javier, is very important. It's why? Like, well, why do you want this? And I think and we've kind of hinted at it, but I think it's something for people to really consider. Like, are you sure? Like, I think what I heard in that question, Javier, and I'm a dramatist. I should just write stories, right? What I heard, and if I were making the movie and I was inside your teacher's mind, what I heard them actually say was, are you sure you want to do this? Are you ready for what you're actually committing yourself to? And I mean, I can't speak for you three, but I didn't know what I was committing myself to. And then stuff happens, and then you're like, oh, that's what that was. So Bob, what I wanted to ask you is, what do you think, like now that you're on the other side, what do you think it really means to be like ready? Like what do you think we're really asking for? Like, and I'm not, don't tell me Semke Pani Shendun Chir Yandak Sokpe Janchub De. Don't tell me the definition of bodhicitta.
Nice.
I have the wish for total enlightenment. Okay, fine. We all wish. I have a wish too. You have a wish, I have a wish, we all wish, right? But practically speaking, like what are you really asking for? And what are what are you really asking for? And what do you think you need to, like when they switch from no to yes, what changed in your heart?
Yeah. Beautiful. It's so great to hear Pal and Javier. So thank you for all of your sharing, and Tim, thank you so much. One thing that kept on occurring and what I found to be, everybody's journey is so individual that one of the things I heard in Javier's is those are those people's stories, but that's not your story. Your story is your story. And what I found is that you have to own that it's your story. And you have to have the brazen courage to be you in your own story. And so what happened to me and so much of the lead up was like I'm a very cerebral person. So I'm just like thinking about everything, and like going through logic trees and that was extremely, extremely functional because that was one of the ways that I learned to trust was to apply logic to what is it that I'm trusting in the first place. And then once I was able to kind of harden the understanding of the emptiness of all these things, that created the foundation for then my heart to open. And what I kept on hearing in all these Diamond Way practitioners in my world, right, is they're just like, listen to your heart. Like, what's your heart say? And I was like, wait, I'm not talking about my heart here. I'm talking about my logic, And they're like, yeah, but what's your heart say? And so I was forced to begin to really develop a relationship of feeling comfortable in a state of open-heartedness, where the bigness of my heart could consume any of the pain that I feared would happen when I opened my heart. And then JB said something that was incredible. And he said he did this in a YSI retreat in Turkey. It was really beautiful Lady Nagumo retreat. And he said, you have to continue to take small jumps, small jumps, small jumps, and then bigger jumps, and then bigger jumps. And then all of a sudden you realize that you've stopped jumping and now you're just flying. And I was like, that's I grew up cliff diving, like jumping off of cliffs into water. Um and the first time I did like my like 20-meter cliff, that was like the big one in our area. I was just like, all I have to do is just like logically I know how to do this. Like I've checked all the boxes, like all this. I just gotta I just gotta go. And there's nothing that can prepare you other than just saying, and I'm not advocating cliff jumping, just to be clear. Take care of your bodies. But there was just this feeling of like I'm ready to go. And I just opened and you go and then you fly. And it's a little scary, but that feeling for me was just so deeply imprinted in my mind of like that feeling of just like just go. And it was not logical. It was supported by logic because I knew the good form. I knew how to take care of my body. Like I knew all the things. I had all the precautions. Like my friends were in the water. We checked the depth. We did everything. So logically, I did the homework. But ultimately, was my heart ready? And then it's a place where you can kind of, in one way, leave the limits of a world with words to go into a world of possibilities. And that was, I don't know how to share that feeling other than those stories, but that's how I'd respond to him.
Great. And I think that's the crux that I want people to start thinking about for themselves is when are you ready to make that transformation, right? Because it is a transformation. You are asking somebody who you've developed through your own logic and lived experience, you're developing a trust that this being who's coming from me because I've treated other people in the past very well, okay, is helping me. And not only that, they're helping me to understand what it takes to transform myself into someone who has the capacity, Shendon Cheer, right, to take care of other beings, truly. Right. And that motivation is not a small one, it's a big one. Like, to make that transformative step, like, you have to be ready, and you have to know what you're committing yourself to.
Tim,
You
Tim,
know,
could I add
yeah.
just a little more?
Yeah, we got 21 minutes. Yes.
Yeah, just because for me, it was like put your money where your mouth is. That's what it felt like to me. It's
Mm.
like if I truly actually, it's not even that I'm committing to a teacher, I was ready to commit to myself. Because if I truly understood like the nature of, like if I really believed, if I really did the homework to feel like I grasped the concept of emptiness and seeds, then let's up the stakes. Like let's make it, like let's go. And so that was the feeling of like, okay, like what am I waiting for? Like I've done the homework. My heart is open. This is what needs to happen next. So, okay, thanks.
Let's take a moment and let that land. Are you ready to commit to yourself? Right? And what it would take to transform you, to let go of the things that you thought were important. And a lot of those things still are. Don't get me wrong. I didn't say they weren't. Don't quote me on it. But I also think to make that transformational leap and to go through the work is incredible commitment, and one that's not lighthearted. It's a lighthearted result, but it's not a lighthearted decision, right? And so, Paulina, where I'm wondering, there's a lot of people here, and a lot of people are wondering about, we have an empowerment coming up. We're devising a beautiful system and way that everybody can attend in person, online, in such a way that it feels that everybody is connected. And it's going to be beautiful, everyone. Right. But how do we, like, just because we're doing it, just because you did your courses, just because you did this, you checked the boxes, you did all the things, does that mean that you're going to be able to attend? I like that laugh. So the question that I have, Paulina, is, we have to start now. Like we can't just be like, oh, October's coming, I'll sign up when, 2 days beforehand. Like, yeah, and most of you will sign up 2 days beforehand. Fine, great. That's how it works in ACI revenue generation. It's always 2 days beforehand. That's not the point. How do we look at the getting ourselves ready karmically right now? Like, what kinds of things can people do practically on top of doing all of their pre-work, like check the boxes? But
Yes.
what can people do to really get ready? And I mean karmically ready now, not in September, not a week beforehand, but now in May.
Yes, thank you. And I laugh because, I will love to tell all of you and myself that we'll be there and we have our spot safe, but we need to still plant seeds until that empowerment happens. So I will say, karmically speaking, one of the best way is through serving the Dharma, like truly serving the Dharma, serving by volunteering at your own capacity, but help make these teachings available to more people, help create the causes for Dharma to continue reaching the world. You know, sometimes it's not about doing something big. Sometimes it's simple about showing up constantly, helping quietly, and offering wherever you can with a sincere heart and with the right motivation of being that empowerment. I remember this story where David told us that he was doing a 3-year retreat, right? And he was writing these letters to Geshe Michael, just telling him how amazing his meditations were, and he was so happy. And then he said that the answer Geshe Michael gave him was unexpected, because he thought Geshe Michael will be like, oh, congratulations, you're doing an amazing job, an amazing work, keep going. But he, instead of that, he said, you need to help your fellow your retreatants. You need to help more. You need to support them more. And then he became the director of that 3-year retreat, right? In order to help them. So sometimes we forget about how can we help others also, or how to help the Dharma. So, you know, help your friends to get there in October, and by serving the Dharma, I think. And sometimes doing the uncomfortable work, doing the jobs nobody wants to do, doing, I mean, this is for me one of the ways, because at the end of the day, the karmas of helping others are going to help you with your own preparation to be there, and dedicate them to your Diamond Wave Bank account. And yeah, I think that will be my answer.
So I might expand that a little bit. When we say serving, like serving can look in many, many ways, right? It's not just about like, yes, ACI 5 houses always needs volunteers. So, you can, if you haven't done anything yet, please find something to do. We have opportunities, we say in English, out the wazoo for you, right? If you come to us and say, I want to help, we will find something for you to do. That's the task of the ACI staff, is to create opportunities. They might be small, they might not seem important, but that's the idea is we're just a seed planting machine. That's what our goal is, to give people opportunities, right? But there's also opportunities that are outside of just ACI 5 houses, right? And Javier, I'm wondering if you could respond to the similar question about how can people get ready karmically, and maybe focus a little bit on what other service would be, that's still beautiful, beautiful seeds. That's not, directly like, oh, I'm going to work for the organization.
Yeah, thank you for throwing that ball at me. I love hearing you guys talk, because I feel like I agree with everything, and I'm just constantly like, yes, that, and that. But also, I mean, serving the Sangha is absolutely like one of the main ways of not guaranteeing, but cultivating the causes for your own empowerment, right? Or the possibilities to attend empowerment. I think that for me, it's been a lot of supporting other practitioners directly. How it looked like for me and what has yield results for me is like, if I see somebody who cannot fully afford a retreat, I can donate some money for their retreat, often without them knowing. Sometimes it's hard for them not to know, but if you can do it without them knowing, it's even more powerful. um like, find a friend that says like, hey, I found $500 for you to attend this retreat, or whatever it is. And the other thing is like, service, even outside of Dharma, with the right mind, and with a dedication towards that retreat. And this doesn't look like volunteer service at a soup kitchen. It can, but it doesn't have to be like that. I think that so every word we speak, every action we take, every thought we have, should be moving us and everybody else around us towards Dharma. If we service, I have kids too, at the PTA meetings, at the community service here in Brooklyn, at the board meeting, at my brokerage, if we teach, even hidden teachings, and we dedicate that towards our empowerment, that plants very powerful seeds. I dare say, and sorry for ACI people, I dare say they're more powerful than when you volunteer because somebody told you that you have to. If you volunteer because you say, like, I really want to do this, and it's coming from your heart, hell yeah, do it. But if you do it a little bit begrudgingly, like, oh, I know I have to do it, but I wish I was doing something else because I'm very busy at work or with the kids or whatever, then I'm not going to say don't do it, but you got some purification to do in your mind. And I'm not saying that to like point at you. I'm saying that because I've done that. I have found myself doing volunteer work and I'm like, why am I doing this? It's not only not productive, what it's doing to my mind is awful because I don't want to do it. And you know what's bad? Worse than not doing something is doing it angrily. It comes up like yucky. The aftertaste of that is gross. And I've done it 2-3 joules, and I've done it with my Sangha in moments where I have to like take a step back and it's like, why do I feel like this? Well, because I took it on without having to take it on. I should have never taken it on. Sorry for the people who manage volunteers, but I do think that having a volunteer with an attitude, I'd rather not have him. And another thing that I would want to say about like, this is outside of the volunteer, but I don't want to run out of time without saying this. Arriving to Diamond Way and getting empowered is not a goal. It's the beginning. It's not like you get there and you're like, oh yeah, it's great. Now I'm, nope. You got to work harder. You got to be more present. Your practice becomes much more, like your sit down practice becomes much more important than in Sutra. Not that in Sutra is not important, but if you lose your shamatha in Diamond Way, it's way more expensive than losing it in Sutra. So don't think that because you're going to be in Diamond Way, that's now I got a sweet ride. No, you don't have a sweet ride. Actually, what they give you is a shitty vehicle that you have to fix because it comes with all the shitty karmas. Sorry for the cursing. I know that 5 houses sometimes we got, but I'm going to say it. I'm from New York. It comes with all the shitty karma that you're carrying into Diamond Way. You don't just enter Diamond Way and get cleaned up. The purification practices are not purifying you from their own side. So if there's a way to get ready for a Diamond Way, is get yourself out of your own way. Let go of your old stories, let go of your old karmas. Know that they're going to show up. All the shitty things that you did are going to show up in Diamond Way. They're going to show up exponentially big because you know the mechanism. But when they show up, if you're in your right mind, you can look at them and say, like, of course you're here. Thank you. Because now I get to see you in the face. Now I get to work with you. Before, I kept you in a closet. So that's another part of the karmic preparation to Diamond Way. Build strength to deal with obstacles. They'll give you the tools. Your teacher will give you the tools to transform them and all that stuff. But get ready for that. Think about what that can look like. Do purification practices for real. Not it's like, oh yeah, do the mantra and the meditation. No. Think really the emptiness of the action that you took that created what you label as bad karma. And look at it and go like, is it really bad karma? Why is it bad karma? What makes it bad karma in my reality? And can I clean it up? Can that same action mean something else? And then when you get to Diamond Way, your mind will be much more available to what you're about to see. But it's not the end. It's not the end, not even close to it. There's a lot of work after. That's it.
Thanks for joining, everybody. That was beautiful, Javier. And I think for all of us is to come to this place where what do we truly, how do we truly want to transform? Not just me, right? But to transform the world, right? And how does that really work? And the stakes are much, much higher. And one of the thoughts that I have, and this is what I want to leave you all with as partial motivation and inspiration, but also the truth of seeds, right? There's no guarantee that any one of us, including Tim, the executive director of ACI 5 Houses, will be there in October, right? I'm guiding the container to build it, but I have this, if I were a lama and they really wanted to teach Tim a lesson, the day before the empowerment would be like, great job. I have a project for you, Tim. Oh, Tim, what's that? Actually, what I want you to do is I want you to go to Diamond Mountain. And give that seat up at Dragon's Head to somebody else. Like, just let that sit for a second. You thought you were going to be there, and then the day before your karma shifted. And it can shift. And you have to be prepared for it, that is the teaching. The teaching is not what you thought it was. There's no power in empowerment, right? And it comes from where? It comes from how you treated other people in the past. And can you take that moment to say, what's the teaching of this? And gladly get in your car and be like, wow, I thought my life was going to be different in the last 5 days. And now it's going to be this. And now I'm going to go to Diamond Mountain. Right? And all my friends and all my loved ones are at Dragon's Head and Tim's not there. Right? And I think that's something for us to really consider of like what is a Diamond Way practitioner? Empowerment does not make you a Diamond Way practitioner. And you have to think about that very, very deeply. And then how do you plant the seeds for that, for you to transform yourself in the world, transform your mind, open your heart, become vulnerable, right? Be ready for that change, and then be ready for whatever seeds ripen and and then how do you respond in the face of it, And I want every single person and every single one of you to be able to experience this. And that's why we're here. And this is why we're doing this. And there's such beautiful planning in place, which over the next couple of weeks, you're going to start hearing more of what it's going to look like. But how's it going to look? That's up to you and your seeds. We're going to do our best to help you get there. But at the end of the day, you need to make the choice. It's your choice, and what kinds of things do you do to be ready for October? Whether you're in person or whether it's online, you're at Dragon's Head, you're at Diamond Mountain, you're on the moon, it doesn't matter. Okay. Where you are is where you're supposed to be. Right? And to really embrace that, where you are is where you're supposed to be. Even today. Okay. So I wanted to thank you, Bob. Thank you, Pao. Thank you, Javier. This has been, I had this huge series of emotions listening to all three of you, like trying to hold back the beauty that I'm hearing. And as brothers and sisters, on this path, I think it's wonderful to thank you for letting me join you in this. And so finally, we have a video for you, a final video that's been, as an offering to all of you that we'd like to play, and hope that, you take it seriously. Like, what seeds do you need to plant? Talk to your teachers, talk to your fellow friends and community. How are we building this community? Because imagine 2,000 people who are committed to transformation and how that replicates very, very quickly, and what we can do. So thank you all for coming. Very much enjoyed this conversation. I wish we could do more of this. I feel like I learned more this way than any way else.
Yeah.
So we have this short video, and then we will see you all very soon.
Thank you, Tim, and thank you, translators, and thank you all the support people. We love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you all can see that this is what we've been doing over the last year and a half, preparing ourselves through this Bridge to the Diamond Way series. And it's for me to see it this way, because I'm in it all day long, right? We're in this, we're every single day we're trying to produce events. We have our problems, we have our, as Javier said, like, managing everybody involved is like it's controlled chaos, and and we're just trying to offer more and more opportunities. And to see this as a retrospective of the last year and a half, of the beauty of the community committed to what we're going towards in Five Houses, right? For me, it's very inspiring. So we have these events coming up in July, which is the last one before October. If you know anyone who hasn't attended or would be interested in something like this, we're going to do a mega catch up during the event. So if you've missed anything, you can come and we'll catch you up as quickly as we can. And have inspirational music as well. And so we have that last event in Malaysia. We have over 600 people registered thus far. We're trying to get to 800, 900 people. So if you have that opportunity to come in person and connect with the community, it's, do consider it. And then of course we'll be online as well for that event if you can't make it. Again, thank you, Paulina. Thank you, Javier. Thank you, Bob, for joining. Thank you to all the interpreters and then all the people involved in making just today possible. So again, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yay! Do it! Have fun. Love you.
So